Welcome to Tick Drop Watch Everything. Find us at tick-drop.com and on all podcast platforms.
So glad to be back for this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun one.
Yeah.
So I want to start by having you picture something.
Okay, I'm ready.
Picture this. You're sitting in a dimly lit room. Just you, a desk, a little bit of ambient light, casting these long shadows across the table.
Setting a very dramatic mood. I like it.
Right. And you are turning a seemingly standard classic timepiece over in your hands. You're feeling that cold steel, the dense weight of the case.
The way the sapphire crystal catches that faint, warm light.
Exactly. And to anyone else walking by, like anyone just glancing over your shoulder, it's just a nice object used for telling time.
Handsome tool, sure, but just a tool.
Yeah, exactly. But you know something they don't.
Ooh, the secret.
Right. So you reach in your pocket and you pull out a tiny UV flashlight. You click it on and you shine that invisible beam directly onto the dark dial. Boom! Instantly, an invisible, glowing shape leaps out from the shadows. It's a hidden message. It feels like this incredibly intimate, secret handshake between you and the watchmaker who built it halfway across the world.
Yes, it's that precise thrill, uncovering a secret that basically transforms a mere tool into an interactive piece of art.
Luckily.
And honestly, when you look at the landscape of modern horology, the specific watches that actually pull off this magic trick are incredibly diverse.
Oh, completely.
We're talking about pieces across the entire spectrum of watchmaking that hide these incredible Easter eggs.
Like the Omega Speedmaster Speedy Tuesday Ultraman.
Oh, the perfect place to start. A true pop culture icon.
It really is.
Now, if you are wearing this watch right now, like just out in normal daylight, on the surface, it looks like a sharp, vintage-inspired mechanical chronograph.
Yeah, it's got these very striking orange accents, very sporty.
Right. But the running second subdial, the little one at the 9 o'clock position, it just looks completely black.
Just a standard black circle with a hand sweeping around it. Nothing special.
Exactly. Until you take that UV light. You blast that 9 o'clock subdial with UV, and out of nowhere, the bright orange silhouette of the Japanese superhero Ultraman's helmet suddenly appears in the paint.
Which is just so cool.
It is. In daylight, it is completely invisible. Just black on black paint. You have to literally shine a black light on your own wrist to summon it.
It's pure childhood joy wrapped up in a high-end luxury sports watch.
Oh.
But then, and this is what's so fascinating, you pivot to the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Right, you go from superheroes to pure elegance.
Yeah, you look at something incredibly restrained, the elegant classic, the Cartier tank.
Oh, man, the absolute definition of old money sophistication.
Completely. I mean, is the watch of diplomats, of royalty. You picture the Roman numerals, the pristine white dial, the heat-blued steel hands.
It's very serious.
So serious. But, and this is wild, if you take a jeweler's loupe and you look microscopically close at either the 7 or 10 o'clock numeral on the dial, you see something mind-blowing.
The hidden signature.
Yes. The word Cartier is perfectly, seamlessly hidden in plain sight. It actually forms the very lines of the V or the X in the Roman numeral itself.
It's astonishing when you finally see it.
It's so tiny that the human eye just registers it as a solid black printed line. It's like a master painter weaving their actual signature into the individual brushstrokes of a painting. You would literally never know it was there.
It's a master class in subtlety. But here's the thing, this phenomenon isn't just reserved for the ultra-luxury tier either.
Right.
Because the joy of a secret scales all the way down to the accessible legend, The humble Casio A158WA or even the F91W.
Oh, the $15 absolute unit of a watch?
The ultimate bargain bin digital survivor. I mean, millions of people wear this watch every single day. They use it to time their laundry or go running.
Yeah, it should have beat her watch for most people.
But if you are wearing one and you hold down the lower right button for exactly 3 seconds, the standard time display entirely vanishes.
Just goes blank.
The screen goes totally blank, and then the word Casio is proudly spelled out across the digital LCD.
I love that so much. It's the digital equivalent of a software developer burying a cheat code in a video game.
Exactly. Up, up, down, down, left, right. It's that exact same vibe. It lingers for just a moment and then goes right back to normal.
Okay, so let's unpack this for a second.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at these 3 examples, right? A luxury mechanical chronograph with a UV superhero helmet, an elite dress watch with a microscopic signature, and a plastic digital tool watch with a button cheat code.
A very weird trio.
Right. And I just have to ask, why? Why spend the R&D, the engineering budget, the sheer time to hide these incredible details if, like, 99% of the people who buy them will never even notice they are there.
Well, to understand the why, we actually have to go way back. Because originally, this wasn't about whimsy or fun little Easter eggs at all.
No.
Not even a little bit. It was about pure, unadulterated security.
Anti-counterfeiting.
Precisely. Because counterfeiting is definitely not a modern problem. If you go back to the early 1800s, you have Abraham Louis Breguet.
Oh, the absolute legend.
Right, widely considered the greatest watchmaker to ever live. But he had a massive problem. His designs were being heavily, heavily ripped off.
Well, his pocket watches were highly coveted, right?
Yeah.
If you were European aristocracy in Paris or London, owning a Breguet was the ultimate status symbol.
You were basically royalty if you had one.
So, naturally, every lesser watchmaker wanted a piece of that pie.
Yeah.
They wanted to fake it.
Exactly. So to foil the fakers, Breguet started using this highly specialized tool called a dry point pantograph.
Okay, wait, let's break that down for a second, because the word pantograph sounds like a medical device or something.
Fair point. A pantograph is essentially this mechanical scaling machine made of interconnected metal arms.
Okay.
Think of it like a 19th century mechanical shrinking photocopier.
Oh, right. So you trace a large signature on one end of the machine with a stylus, and the mechanical linkages shrink your exact movements down to a microscopic engraving needle on the other end.
Exactly. It scales it way down.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he would use this pantograph to engrave his name directly into the engine-turned guilloche patterns of the dial.
And guilloche, just so we're all on the same page, is that mesmerizing, mathematically precise pattern of intersecting lines cut right into the metal.
Yes.
It looks like a microscopic spirograph, but carved into solid silver or gold.
Perfect analogy. So Breguet is engraving a microscopic signature into a microscopic spirograph pattern. It was so small you couldn't see it unless you held the watch up and the light hit it at an incredibly oblique angle.
Wow.
Imagine you're a counterfeiter in 1810. You sit down at your wooden bench, you look at a real Breguet, and you realize you physically do not possess the machinery or the mathematical skill to replicate that tiny signature.
It's over for you. So it's basically a glamorous security watermark on a $100 bill.
That is exactly what it is. And that survival tactic of the 19th century evolved straight into modern luxury. Take Rolex, for example.
The most counterfeited watch brand on the planet today.
Exactly. They use a microscopic laser to etch their iconic coronet, that little five-pointed crown logo, directly into the sapphire crystal at the 6 o'clock position.
Which is maddeningly difficult to see. If you have a modern Rolex on your wrist right now, try to find it.
It takes forever.
I've tried. You practically need the lighting of a Hollywood film set, a very specific shadow, and a magnifying glass just to catch a glimpse of it.
But that's the point. It's meant to be. It's not for the wearer. It's for the jewelers and authenticators. And the level of detail gets even crazier.
Oh, right, the service crystals.
Yes. If you ever shatter your crystal and have to send your Rolex in for a service, they will replace it. And the replacement sapphire will still have that laser-etched coronet, but Rolex hides a tiny microscopic letter S inside the base of the crown.
Just to signify it's a service replacement and not the original factory crystal.
Right. It's an internal forensic record-keeping tool.
Okay, so it starts as security, a literal watermark. But somewhere along the line, hiding things stopped being about fending off thieves, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because when watchmaking transitioned from a pure necessity like, I just need to know the time, to high-end luxury, hiding a feature becomes something else entirely, becomes a psychological flex.
Yes. It shifts into what I like to call structural humility. It's the art of hiding the flex.
Hiding the flex, I love that. It's like building something wildly expensive, incredibly complex, and then just refusing to let anyone see it. Which immediately makes me think of the Patek Philippe reference, 5101.
Oh, the absolute pinnacle of the hidden flex.
It really is. Because the 5101 features a tourbillon, and if you look inside a mechanical watch, the beating heart is the escapement, right?
Little regulating organ.
Yeah, it's a tiny hairspring breathing back and forth. But because the watch is on your wrist, gravity pulls on that tiny spring unevenly throughout the day, which can throw off the accuracy.
Right. So a tourbillon takes that entire beating heart, that whole delicate assembly, and puts it inside a tiny rotating cage.
That's brilliant.
It spins the entire escapement around, usually once a minute, to constantly average out the gravitational pull from all sides.
It is mesmerizing to watch. And because it is so incredibly difficult to engineer, most luxury brands will literally cut a massive hole in the front of the dial to show it off. They want it spinning right on the front for everyone to see.
Screaming, look at what we built. Look how much wealth is on my wrist.
Exactly. But Pat Philippe flipped the script. On the 5101, they hid the tourbillon entirely on the back of the watch.
They kept the dial completely pristine, totally unbothered. The only hint that you were wearing a multi-$100,000 horological masterpiece is a tiny little line of text on the dial.
Yep. Otherwise, you only see the tourbillon when you take the watch off and look through the sapphire caseback.
That is structural humility defined.
And it's not just the ultra-hot dress watches that do this either. Even tool watches do it.
Yeah.
Look at the Rolex Air King, specifically the reference 116900.
Great example.
Rolex is generally pretty straightforward, but the Air King shares its case and its movement with the Milgauss, which was the watch famously built for scientists working around heavy magnetic fields.
Right, because magnetic fields from speakers, laptops, or lab equipment can magnetize a watch movement and completely ruin its accuracy. So they use a Faraday cage.
Yes, a ferromagnetic shield. If you picture a Faraday cage, think of it like a magnetic sponge. It literally soaks up external magnetic fields and routes them around the delicate movement inside, rather than letting those fields pass through it.
It creates a safe room for the gears.
Exactly. So imagine taking your own Air King to a workbench and somehow cracking open the outer thick stainless steel caseback.
Which, by the way, nobody does unless they are a certified watchmaker.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
But if you open it, you are greeted by a second completely hidden internal caseback. That's the ferromagnetic shield. And engraved right into that hidden shield is the letter B with an arrow over it.
The scientific symbol for magnetic flux density.
Right? No one can see it.
Yeah.
You literally have to take the watch entirely apart to know it's there. The actual owner of the watch will never, ever lay eyes on it.
Though.
But Rolex spent the engineering time and the money to precisely engrave it anyway.
Which is so cool. But let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Human nature dictates that if you drop tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a timepiece, you generally want someone to notice, right? Doesn't burying the headline defeat the purpose of buying luxury?
You think so.
Yeah.
But I actually think possessing a secret is the ultimate form of luxury. It's signaling theory at its finest.
How do you mean?
Well, if you're showing off a massive logo or a gaping hole in your dial, you're seeking external validation. You're projecting outward. But when you hide it, you shift the value inward.
Ah, so you're saying I don't care if you know what this is. I know what this is.
Exactly. It turns a consumer product into a private talisman. It's an intimate connection. And honestly, brands lean into this purely for the joy of it today, especially with pop culture collaboration.
Wow, the joy factor is huge. Look at the Omega Seamaster Diver 300 Amine James Bond on Her Majesty's Secret Service 50th Anniversary Edition.
It's like a good release.
In the daylight, it's just a gorgeous, serious dive watch. But when you walk into a dark room, the luminescent material on the dial glows, and hidden completely inside the 10 o'clock lume marker is a glowing number 50. Just staring right back at you.
A secret nod to the 50th anniversary of the film.
Precisely. Or, sticking with Omega, the Silver Snoopy Award 50th Anniversary Speedmaster.
Oh my gosh, possibly the greatest caseback ever designed in the history of watches.
It's absolutely magical. So you're wearing the watch, you start the chronograph pusher on the front, and then you take the watch off and flip it over. On the caseback, there is a tiny, meticulously painted Snoopy sitting inside a command and service module. And because there's a separate gear train hidden on the back, connected to the chronograph module on the front, as the seconds hand sweeps on the dial, Snoopy physically flies across the starry sky on the back.
He disappears behind the dark side of the moon and reappears.
Yes.
And the Earth is rotating too, tied to the running seconds. It is a literal automaton, a tiny mechanical puppet show hidden against your wrist. It serves absolutely zero practical purpose for telling time, and it is glorious.
It's pure geeky joy. And we see that exact same joy in digital tools, too. It's not just Swiss mechanical engineering doing this.
Oh, right. The G-Shocks?
Yeah, high-end G-Shocks, the ones with solar panels and tilt sensors, they have hidden diagnostic screens built into their circuit boards.
Like a secret diagnostic menu?
Literally like a check engine menu on a car. If you hold down a specific undocumented 3-button combination, the watch enters a diagnostic test mode. You can test the solar panel, and when you expose the watch to light, the LCD clears and displays a highly satisfying 8888 to let you know the charging circuit works.
That's so satisfying.
You can test the tilt sensor the same way. It proves that the joy of discovery scales across all types of technology.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what does this mean for the people who actually hunt these things down? Because watch communities is intensely passionate. How do these hidden Easter eggs impact the legacy or the collectability of these watches today?
Oh, it drastically alters collectability. because it turns collecting into treasure hunting. It is no longer just about walking into a boutique and buying a brand name. It's about forensic horology.
Forensic horology, I love that term.
It's true. Collectors will obsessively hunt for highly specific transitional models. Take Rolex again.
Okay.
If you look at the inner metal ring that sits between the dial and the crystal, that's called the rehaut. Today, Rolex constantly engraves Rolex, Rolex, Rolex all the way around that inner ring.
Yeah, it's very recognizable now.
But there was a brief transitional period where they didn't do that yet. Finding a vintage piece that bridges that exact era right before the engraving became standard becomes a massive flex for collectors.
Because it proves you know your history. You know the exact timeline of the brand's secrets. It's like finding a misprinted coin, but entirely by design.
Exactly. And more than that, it builds an emotional bond.
Yes. The watch stops being just a machine that tells you you're late for a meeting. It becomes an interactive companion. It's a shared inside joke. Every time you look at that Speedy Tuesday and know Ultraman is just sitting there in the dark waiting for a UV light, it makes you smile.
It humanizes a piece of cold steel.
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
so forced to choose. Of all the watches we've talked about, all these Easter eggs, which one takes the crown for you? Wait, actually, let me go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Because we haven't even fully dove into the mechanics of this one yet, but I have to pick the Frank Miller Crazy Hours.
Oh, man. The absolute madness of that watch.
It is totally unhinged. You look at the dial, and the painted hours are completely out of sequence. The 8 is where the 12 should be, the 2 is at the 6. It looks fundamentally broken.
Like a massive mistake.
Exactly. But it uses a highly specialized jumping hour module. So instead of the hour hand creeping slowly forward like a normal watch, it stores up energy. And at the exact top of every hour, the hour hand wildly snaps across the dial, jumping exactly 150 degrees to land on the correct out-of-sequence number.
It's just brilliant.
It's an Easter egg of pure mechanical madness hidden behind the facade of a broken dial. It is just so audacious. What about you?
Oh, without hesitation, my choice is the Casio A158WA.
Casio. Really?
Over the
Hidden tourbillons and the snapping Frank Millers?
Yes, because it proves that the joy of a hidden Easter egg isn't reserved just for the ultra-wealthy. You don't need $100,000 to experience that exact same emotional connection.
That's a really good point.
You can wear a piece of horological magic, a little digital secret you can trigger anytime you want for the price of a couple of coffees. That democratizes the joy of watches.
I really can't argue with that. So, as we wrap up, I want you to look down at your own wrist right now. Or, look at the objects you carry every day. Your pen, your bag, the dashboard of your car. What quiet little secrets are they hiding in plain sight, just waiting for you to look closely enough?
You never know until you really look.
That's it for today's Tick Drop. Find more at tick-drop.com, and we'll see you next drop.